What's up, guys? It is your boy Will, and welcome to. I gotta fix the hat real quick. Welcome to another day, another video. I'm excited. It's a new week. If you haven't checked out yesterday's video, yesterday I dropped my weekly design spotlight, episode 3. Or is it 4? It's spotlight week 3. Yes, I'm filming for this week. Let's go, baby. Let's go. But yeah, please check it out. Your support means everything to me, and support the designers that I feature in that. It's a big community that I want to help bring together and to grow. And so I'm really excited for all the features in there and hopefully getting a podcast started soon and just having more conversations with those guys. But please check it out. It'll be the first link in the description. I appreciate you guys. But for today, we are doing the first episode of Recreate. Now, my personal belief is that the best way to grow in your design ability is to find things you like and learn how to reverse engineer and to duplicate. That's kind of how my career started. I would just constantly find stuff I like and be like, awesome, how do I make that? Look up tutorials, figure out terminology and different things. And that has developed me and given me the skills that I have just by going through hours and hours and hundreds of duplications. And so that's what we're gonna be doing in this series. And so I have I have like 5 or 6 videos mapped out for this with just stuff that I want to recreate. And so I'm really excited. I was like, I gotta get it started, Make sure you subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Zelo, and like the video because I have a ton of design content coming all the freaking time. So let's get into it. So this is going to be the graphic that we're recreating today. If you guys don't know who 100 Thieves is, you're living under a rock. 100 Thieves is one of the largest gaming organizations, started by the one and only Nade Shot, who I have been following Nade Shot since he still works at McDonald's. So long time. OG Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2 era, a kid here. So super excited for 100 Thieves and just the brand that they have. It's probably the only gaming organization whose clothing I've actually purchased with my own money. And so super excited, and I just really like this overall graphic and aesthetic. And so really excited to recreate that with you guys here in Affinity. We're doing this in Affinity. So this is the graphic. I have pre-baked some of the assets that I know we need to use, but we're going to be doing all of it in Affinity. So I haven't like preloaded them in Affinity yet. It's just I grabbed all the logos for the partners, that kind of stuff. I have the example image. I have the photo I'm going to use instead of Brooke. This is one of our top sales reps. His name is Clint. And then I have a texture here, and I'm going to put the link to these assets in the description so you guys can download and use the assets that I use, especially the font. The closest font, I don't know if that's exactly what 100 Thieves used, but Call of Duty, this is actually one of the things I wanted to bring up. Call of Duty released their brand template, and they have this font called Hit Marker, which I'm pretty confident is what they used. I'm not 100% sure, but it's pretty close. So this is the font that we're going to be using, but you guys can download this font yourself, link in the description. It's the official Call of Duty Hit Marker font, and you can just download it right from their website. So that's pretty cool. So in recreating this, one of the first things we have to do, I'm going to make a new document here. And the reason I'm making a new document is just so we can save our progress along the way. But we have to vectorize the 100 Thieves logo. And so normally my process would be to throw this into Illustrator. Oh, before we do that, there is another thing we have to do, and this goes into a previous conversation I had. So if you go to Vector in a previous video, you have your alignment tools here, but when you go to Pixel, you don't have those same alignment tools. So I figured out that if you go to View, Customize Toolbar, you now have all of these options, and you see this like blank space. You can even remove, like, I don't need to know that. I don't need to know that. You can remove anything you want on there and completely customize how you want this to look, which I think is an awesome tool. You might be able to do this in Photoshop. I've never done it in Photoshop. The tools have just always been there. So that was fun. So I'm going to go and grab all of my alignment tools, drag them right there. And I think I just need the regular alignment. It looks weird with the double, but this is the actual like align, but this will show you more options that I'll need to know. But yeah, I can click that. And the main thing I just need is the distributions. and being able to distribute items between. So anyway, we went to Google on the Wikimedia Commons. We found this high resolution or higher resolution. I'm sure you can download the SVG actually. Let's try that. Size of this PNG preview of the SVG file, other resolutions. Can I just original SVG file? Boom. Perfect. Can I drag? How do I save this guy? Maybe go back, right click here, save link as. It's not save a link as, save as. It should just let me right click and download, save as, boom. There we go. Let's go to recreate episode 100 Thieves logo. So I might actually have an easier way to do this. That's an SVG. Awesome. I should be able to just drag this right into Affinity, and it should be, look at those vector lines. I love that. Okay. So our lives did just get a little easier. Are these all grouped? So okay, perfect. Layer, copy and paste into here. Okay. We're going to hold that there for now. I'm going to show you guys how to do it I did not do this in my test where I was practicing this. But if you go into here and you go to pixel, or I think it might be vector, you hit image trace. Obviously it didn't do as good of a job. Whoa. The first time I did this, I did not have that issue where it eliminated the line there. So let's try this again. Okay, vector, image trace. So for whatever reason, I might need to get a better image of the 100 Thieves logo. This one's a lot larger, so that should help us. You always want as high of a resolution as possible when doing this, because it will help you in the long run. Okay, let's go back to vector, image trace. Beautiful. And so apply. There we go. And I'm going to paste again. And that way we can see pretty much if there's any major changes. So it looks like we lost a little detail down in the bottom curve there. But ultimately, I already have a vector version. If you find an SVG file online or anything like that, most major brands, their vector logo is online somewhere, so you don't have to worry about it. But if you're working with a client and you had to vectorize it, that would be how. But then, yeah, I would just have the layer that you duplicated a little bit less so you can tell the difference. And then you can be like, okay, I know that I need to make the swoop here. I need to adjust here. And then you can play with the thresholds and all of that kind of stuff. So anyway, we don't need to do that because we have this guy. Perfect, which is the SVG of the logo. Okay. Perfect. And now let's ungroup. And let's try. Don't want to do that. I want to. Okay, that looks like all of just thieves. Perfect. And then all of just 100. And then 100 is going to be black. And then now let's get the color right from here. And I think it is right, but just in thieves, we will select that coloring. Perfect. Okay. And there we go. We now have a vector 100 Thieves logo. That was pretty sick. That was easy. It was easy. Okay, so that's one of the first steps we need. I'm going to go ahead and grab this and drop it in our project file as well. One thing I really like about Illustrator, Photoshop doesn't necessarily do this, but Photoshop layers I think are a little bit easier to work with. But you can kind of like nest everything in a layer under, and then we can just set this to like 50% and then turn this layer on and off throughout the process so we can tell what we're doing is right. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and group throw this in a group and be example. Then we're going to make another group below that. Boom, we're going to call this project. You can name it whatever you want to. Drag a new pixel layer inside so we can see the layers. And I'm going to hit U on my keyboard. U is the shape layer tool. And I know that there are 3 distinct layers in this graphic. And you might think about that. There's a few ways to think about it in like just the 3D geometric form of a graphic. You have your foreground, your background, your before foreground, your middle layer. There's a bunch of different ways to think about things in that like vertical stretch phase. But then also that same thing exists on the plane going left to right as well. So overly complex way of me explaining that, but I'm gonna go and turn my magnet on as well. So my point will snap to the grids. But we have this column, we have this column, and we have this column. So we have 3 distinct columns that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that there. And I'm going to go ahead and set this to like 10%. And let's make this rectangle purple just for the sake so I can tell it apart. So we have the first layer mapped out. I'm going to go into Command J. Command J is duplicate. I'm going to grab from this side here, drag it over the second column. All right, duplicate again, and I am going to do the third. So now we have our 3 distinct layers. I'm going to make this one a little bit darker just so I can tell the difference. Turn this layer off. Oh, that didn't work. Hold on. Make this a little bit darker. I don't know why. Oh, what the heck? Why is that one so long? What the heck did I do wrong? Okay, hold on. Let's go back here. Back. Command J. Grab this side, go that way. Okay. Not sure what happened there. Apparently I added a stroke to it as well. We don't want a stroke on that. Okay. Perfect. I've already allowed this. Screen recording with Affinity. I want to do that right now. I've already allowed that. Okay. Anyway, a lot of weird things just happened there, but we're in a good spot now. I'm not sure how it happened originally, but so now we've broken up into the columns. We know the column layers that we have to fill. And now we look at the kind of stretch. We can do that a little bit later. The first thing I want to do is I try and do the easiest things first. And so the easiest next step is just to fill our second column here with the photo of Clint. So I'm going to go and drag that into the project. There he is. And let's drag it down. And then I'm going to use a similar tactic as drawing the boxes. I'm going to reveal. And then I'm going to just drag Clint to be in the rough same area that Brooke was in, height-wise and everything. Perfect. And then I did learn a little bit more about clipping masks. Clipping masks still don't function in Affinity like they do in Photoshop. But if I grab the photo of Clint and I drag, so you can drag it over the icon, it says uses clipping mask. What that will do is it uses it more of like a mask function. So basically the shape below will be masked to the object you're masking with. It's a little weird, but if you go ahead and hover, it says place inside. And so when you do that, it acts like a normal clipping mask would. So a little weird. I'm not sure how I fully feel about it, but that is the reality we're in. Now, real quick, I'm going to go and make the example full. I'm going to go ahead and hit I on my keyboard it's the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to change the color of this rectangle to the red that they have used there. And then this is just simply black. So there you go. I'm going to go back here and just make sure that these strokes don't exist. It says 0 points there, but I just want to double check again, make sure people know that this stroke is 0. There is no stroke there. No stroke here. And this one has a stroke, but we're going to get rid of it. The stroke thing is a little weird there. Okay. And we'll make this back to 10%. So now we can see we have the red bar, we have the photo of Clint, we have the background. Awesome, awesome. I just realized one thing I don't have in here is the grid that we're gonna need. So I have to pull that from my laptop close to the end of this. But anyway, another story for another day. Okay, or a little bit later in the video. Okay, so that was easy. Let's make this a little bit brighter so we can see. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and bring in the thieves overlay. I believe there are 3 thieves overlays. One is right here over the image. One is in this top right corner. And then the other one is in the background. You can see the 100 and then thieves back here in the background. So it should be relatively easy to place these, but we're going to go to our vector logo here. We're going to copy it. We're going to group it all together first, then we're going to copy it. We're going to go to our project. I'm going to do this above the example layer just to make it a little easier for myself right now. And then we're going to make this whole thing like a purple, just so it really stands out and I can match it pretty well. Okay. And I can tell that I need to rotate this a little bit. And I already had it pretty close to size. That's really close. I'm not gonna nitpick all the craziness, but I think that is really close to the final size there. Perfect. And I'm gonna duplicate this and we're gonna take it over here. And it looks like it's the exact same size there. I'm just gonna go in the group here and delete the 100. Perfect. So it's just thieves. And then I'm gonna duplicate this layer again. We're gonna make it a little bit bigger here because I think there is the X. Needs to be rotated again here. I did not select that. I hit V. Okay. It's not going to be like 100% 101, but it'll be pretty close there. Okay, perfect. And now I can drag all of these into our project. And then make this back to 10% since I know. I'm actually real quick while I have this thieves at the bottom. It's going to be this gray color. This thieves in the back is going to be a white. And then we'll lower the opacity a little bit later. And then this one up here is going to be this red color. Boom. There we go. And now I know that these 2 thieves are going to go on top. And then this one is already above the layer that it's at, but let's just drop it to like a lower opacity now. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and lock all of those layers, including all of our background layers, just to make it easier for myself so I don't accidentally grab them. Okay. Same with the example layer. Perfect. So now above all of those, I'm going to make a new pixel layer real quick. And I'm going to grab my text tool, make sure that I am the free text. And we are going to put some text out there. We're going to call this hit marker and hit marker VF. We're going to change the color to white. And we're going to write out Clint. Clint. Okay. Now, obviously, that doesn't look the same. Now, the cool part about hit marker is it is a variable font. If you've never worked with variable fonts, it's really fun. And so normally you have your just like font selection here and you're like, okay, that's what I have. But variable fonts allow you to dynamically change weight and width of that. And then we'll need our character tool, which our character tool, I assume would be clicking that. Perfect. We're going to make this, I don't know, 75, add a little bit of space. That's that spacing there. And let's go ahead and try and align it. And then one really cool thing about affinity is so normally in Photoshop, I right click, I have to hit transform and I add a slant. Right here, they have a degree slant right in the character. So now I just hit 10, which I think is pretty close to what, maybe it's 9, the angle might be a little off. Let's go back here. Yeah, I think 9 is going to be the closest that we get there. But yeah, and so boom, we have that, and then You can kind of guess and just check. Like, I think it's a little too wide. So we go back to our variable font. We make it a little less wide. Now we're matching in the B pretty well. Let's see. I'm going to bump up the example a little bit. And I mean, we're really close to where all of the levels are there. So that's pretty good. Boom. Now we're going to make that back down to 10. Perfect. We have our base font there. We're going to duplicate that layer, move it up, and then do welcome. Welcome. Now, again, they're all caps. So we're going to go into and hit these double T's there. Those double T's will make it all caps. And then we're going to go to the bottom line, and then we're just going to shrink until we're roughly the same height and starting position. There we go. Beautiful. Now, as you can see, their font, if I go back up and make it a little bit larger, is thinner and wider. So now we go back up to our variable font. We make ours a little thinner, and then we just make it a little wider. This is definitely thinner. Perfect. And again, it doesn't have to be completely one-to-one, just close. Just close. And again, I don't even know if this is exactly the font that they've used, but we're looking really close there. So I'm just going to be satisfied with that outcome. And now I'm going to grab my 100 Thieves markup there. Just grab this hex code. And then we're going to duplicate, drag down to the pros. I'm going to select all of this text, and then I'm going to paste in there the red. Did not work. Hold on, let's try that again. There we go. Not sure what I had to do to validate it there, but there we go. So now if we go and hide that layer, we have something that's getting really close there. I'm going to go ahead and take this and make it like 5 or something a little less. And then we're going to put these above our background layer, just so it's the hard line and all of this is behind that. So there you go. So welcome, Clint, to the pros of Hit Command R on my keyboard on Mac. I get my tool here that allows me to pull up guides. And then I want to take these and put them in order in the layers panel. So welcome, Clint, to the pros. And then if I click my alignment tool that we added, there's the distribute. So I'm going to distribute vertically, and that just centers everything together, equal distance between all of the text. Which is very nice. And then let's group those and call it text layers. Boom. File organization, very important. And then every now and then, to click off of something before I type or anything like that, I just create a new pixel layer. So that way I don't accidentally type in a shape or things like that. Just make sure you clean those up as you progress. Like I saw this base pixel layer that doesn't have anything in it. So you just need to navigate through those pixel layers and make sure they're looking good. All right, so in the description, you're going to have a link that'll allow you to download. This is the Zelo paper texture. It's actually not my texture. I didn't make it, but it's just an super old texture that I have for a while. So as you guys can see on here, we have this kind of paper texture in the bottom. And I wonder, let's make this 100 real quick. So it's actually above that back text layer. And so what we're going to do here is I'm going to make this a hundo. I'm going to drag this on top. So your document contains a large amount of embedded image data. Would you like to link your image to reduce document size? No, I want to import that ish. Okay, and then let's make it a little bit smaller here to retain quality. And I'm going to drop it. And then really easy, I'm going to grab my lasso tool. And we're just going to, this is actually easier for me on a, maybe it's not. Maybe it's easier with a mouse with where we're at. I also want to make sure I can see the whole of it. We can close character up here. I'm going to grab my lasso tool. And I think I can command gets really close there. But basically, I'm just gonna, it's paper, so it's okay to be a little jagged, and then I can go grab a brush tool after. And we're gonna draw in those tears. Boom. No, no. That is a problem I've had in Photoshop as well. So now I just need to add, oh no. I released a little too quickly. It's never good when that happens. Alrighty. And now I think I can go to my lasso tool and just draw in areas where I want it to include. And just make sure all of those are included in the file. Okay, so there we go. And then we have over our texture here. I am just going to, I think I can create a mask off of that. No? Mask. There we go. And now, just like they have, we can put this over our files over there. And you can, oop, I think you can see they have a little extra flare and stuff like that, like dimension, I guess, there. But I don't think anyone would really notice that in the difference of ours. You can make that a little bit wider if you want. Now they also have a texture up here as well. So let's go back to this file. And then we're just going to, same thing, lasso tool. If you hold command, it lets you do the point. Boom. Okay, there we go. And then I think I can delete that from the mask. Let's test that here. So let me click on the mask, delete, nope. There we go, perfect. Except it's not all the way there. This is my zoom. Why is it a lower? Okay, what I'm actually gonna do is click on this and then copy paste. There we go. I'm not sure why it just gave me an opacity. It must be something with my settings and different things like that. But anyways, now we turn this on, and not again 1-to-1, but pretty close. We learned a little bit. Hey, I want to add a texture here. I can just chop up this texture and stuff like that as we're part of it. So pretty close, if I do say so myself. Now there's two things that I got to do first, and then yeah, the two next things we're going to do. So we have this text up here, the established 2017. Let's go ahead and use our guides to create a box around it. Boom. Same thing over here with this apparel. We're going to go ahead and mark it off. There we go. So that way we just know, hey, text needs to go in those boxes on those areas. And that's going to be the thing we do next. So we're going to make a new pixel layer just so we can get our free type tool. And I'm going to go ahead and hit, let's take this and lower it. We're going to make the color of the text white. And we'll write EST 2017 greater than Los Angeles, California. California knows how to party. Okay. And let's drag this down till we get close to the height that we want. And then let's just add 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. So pretty close. I'm actually going to remove one on each side here. And that is really close for what we want there. I'm going to duplicate this text. And now we're going to do 100 thieves, greater sign, gaming, entertainment, ampersand, apparel. Okay. Hopefully I copied everything correctly. I'm horrible at spelling. And sometimes I'm also dyslexic. So you'll see being dyslexic and a designer, not a good combo. Let me tell you. Okay, so it looks a little too thick for this in our variable font again. I'm just going to bring the weight down just a little bit. And then this color will go to black. And then we're going to add a bunch of spaces here. So actually what I'm going to do here is close that and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Copy that down. Paste it in to get it close. Let's see where we're at. We still have a little bit more room. 1, 1. Let's do it again. 1, 1. So we are really close. And then I am just going to bring out my character again. Boom. And then just expand that to like 75. Okay. That looks really good. Now, if I make the example full again, you can see it's not a true black. If you hit command and then your colon, it'll hide the guides. So you can see it's not truly black. So now when we hide this, that is black. So I'm just going to go to that text here and lower the opacity to like 70 or something like that. And that should give it roughly, it does look like theirs is a little bit thicker. So let's go back to this. Let's bump up the weight just a little bit. Drag this down to like 68. And then maybe like 3.5. Ooh, that was a little much. Maybe 3.6. Just a little bit smaller. And maybe we'll bring this back out to 75. Okay, it's really close. I think that is going to be pretty close to where we're at. Okay. So our version has the Los Angeles a little bit bigger and a little bit closer. Again, I don't think this is the exact font they use, and so that is a huge reason why, but it's pretty close, pretty close. So then the last few things we have to do, and we're going to try and do these all really quick, but we have to add this little tag. We have to add the grid background here, and we have to add these partner logos and then a layer of noise on top of it. And I might do a little bit of adjustment. As you can see, the photo is a little bit more stylized than our photo of Clint. So we had a little bit of stylization there. But other than that, we're getting really close to having this project done and having a completed practice project in the duplication. I recommend all of you do this. Like the more that you practice duplicating what other people have done, the better you become at seeing. All right. So again, I don't know why this happens, but we had it stop the recording again, the screen recording. So I need to figure out some weird setting with my Mac there in QuickTime. But and if you guys know any better ways to record your screen and your video at the same time, I would love your help in the comments. I used to use ScreenFlow, but it hasn't been working since Tahoe, so I wonder if it's not optimized. But anyway, I won't bore you with the details. But so the last thing we need to do is add that texture in the background, the grid layout, and the noise, and then add the little tag up here, which the tag should be super easy. I'm going to pull up their example again, hit U on the keyboard to bring up my rectangle tool. Drag a box there. We're going to make this box white. And then I'm going to extend it a little bit further past, just make sure I didn't miss it. Find the 100 Thieves logo, copy, paste that in here. And then Drag it down. With smart guides, we should be able to have it be on there. Let's take these, group them together real quick, drag them into the project, drop this opacity, and then just line it up, make it the right size. Perfect. Okay. There we go. We have that piece. I'm going to hide this layer now. And now we're going to go and work with partner logos. So I have this 400 Thieves. Let's go ahead and make a new file here. We're just going to drag in. I went ahead and secured. So I just looked up all the partner logos, some with backgrounds, some not with backgrounds. For sake of time and boredom, I'm not going to put all of them on the file, but oh, there's Twisted Tea. Truly, Lexus, JBL, Heineken. Downloading logos online is a little crazy. GoPuff, Chipotle, the one and only AT&T. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit U on my keyboard, create this like background here that's a little different, so that way we can test all of these logos. And then just make sure that they are truly transparent. And I can see here, like AT&T's is good. Truly's is good. Heineken's is good. Grubhub is good. GoPuff is not good. And so what we need to do for this guy here is remove the background. A few ways we can do that. I want to see if just the image trace works on this. I got an assistant error, so I wonder if it didn't. Let's see here again. Vector. It won't let me image trace this guy now. Oh, I'm lagging. What did I do wrong? Oh no. Did the assistant break it? I'm lagging. I've not had a crash on here yet, but I don't want to restart this project, so let me save this real quick. 100T Clint. Just to make sure I save these files. 100T Vector. The example one I don't need to save. This one I can close out. We got that dealt with. Okay. I'm going to delete. I'm dragging something. Okay, now I'm working. The GoPuff logo is giving me some issues. I wonder if it was how the image trace worked. But with this, what I'm going to end up doing here is just maybe W on my keyboard, magic, select, delete. And then getting in all of these. It's not going to look perfect, and this is a tutorial on basically how to duplicate processes. And so I recommend, as you guys go through, like if you're working on a professional project, obviously you would spend a little bit more time making sure all the logos and stuff like that were perfect and in different aspects. But let's see the true test here. If I go ahead, add an FX layer to this. Boom. Color overlay and black. Okay. And that's just what you want to see. Oh, but I have a black border around it, so I need to grab my marquee tool. Select around, Shift Command I, delete. Oh, it's weird how this, there's a lot of weird. There's just a weird Shift Command I, delete. There we go. There's a lot of weird things with Affinity, which I'm sure, like, I was having some conversations with some guys on X, and it's like, hey, with time, this platform is going to be just unreal, right? Like, there won't be a better platform than Affinity, or I don't know. Adobe is the gold standard. I don't want to say there won't be a better platform, because Adobe, I think, will always be the gold standard, or at least for the most part. But yeah, I very much have enjoyed using Affinity. Adobe did give me, I'm gonna upload a video about this on my second channel real quick too. It'll probably be a collab, but um I will say Adobe did give me 50% off for Black Friday. So I did renew for the little bit. So I have Adobe for another year. Instead of it being 840 bucks, it was $420, but still, it's crazy expensive. All right, I have a little bit of a thing around Lexus. Let me select around you. Shift Command I, make sure I'm on Lexus and delete that. JBL has a similar thing, so let's just mask around the logo. The marquee tool, Shift Command I, delete. And I think we should be good with these. Now I'm just going to take this effects that we have on there, and I'm just going to drag it onto every logo. And it should all be, for the most part. Where's Twisted Tea? I never mess with Twisted Tea. It's over here. It is already no background, transparent background, boom. And let's just make it a little bit smaller. Okay. So now let's go to our example real quick. And it is Heineken, then AT&T. So Heineken, AT&T, JBL, Truly, JBL, Truly. I'm going to select all of those, make them a little bit smaller. Then Lexus, Chipotle, Lexus, Chipotle. And then I'm going to guess Grubhub, Twisted Tea. Twisted Tea, then Grubhub. Dang it. I need to act like I reviewed this before. Okay. Move all these guys over. Grubhub in the corner here. And so some cool things with, I'm going to remove that file there because we don't need anymore. A few cool things with just your spacing. So in alignment, they have make the same, maintain aspect ratio, but you can like adjust the heights of these. So it's like, hey, I want to maintain aspect ratio there, but it will make them all the same. It's kind of nice. And then let's distribute and center there. Okay. And then I'm going to grab, like, I think a Heineken logo was a little bit bigger. It definitely was bigger than the AT&T. AT&T was kind of small, but I don't know what their agreements are and how they have to display certain logos, certain heights. But anyway, I'm going to group those together as partner logos. We're going to go back to our project file here, showcase that. And then in our project, above our mask layer, we're going to paste in and find these. Where are they? Oh, they're center up here. Boom. Oh, I forgot GoPuff, but that one was giving me issues. So we're just going to not have it on there. But yeah. General placement, I'm going to keep it in the same general area, but obviously the sizes and everything will be a little bit different. And different things like that. But boom. Now let's hide that. The partner logos are some of the most important pieces that you have to communicate on there because they do fund the operation. They are a massive part of it. But at the same time, like, you know. Okay, perfect. So we have the partner logos added. That is an important aspect. And do they have that much bleed? Here they did. Just a massive amount of distance. I think there's 100 Thieves also in there as well. Interesting. But yeah, so boom, there we go. We have the partner logos. And now we're going to grab our grid. So I have this grid texture. Now theirs is at a slightly different angle, so it won't be 1-to-1. Just for the sake of time. I'm going to get really close, though, to how their grid is set up. Boom. And then we want to add an effects layer to this. We're going to do color overlay, except we are going to make it white. There you go. Drag this behind. Hide that. and then set the opacity to like 15-ish, something around those lines. Perfect. And then the last thing that we need to do is we're going to do, there's some file organization and stuff that I would do, but I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to grab my bucket tool and I'm going to fill it with black. And then I'm going to make a just new black layer. And then we're going to go to, I believe it's pixel filters, noise, add noise. And then you can do different things that you want. I'm going to do uniform and I'm going to do monochromatic. And we're going to make it pretty intense. 70 is good. And then this goes over everything. And then we are going to play with a blend mode here. Let me view how they have theirs. Ours is a little too intense, but I think it needs to be. Because you want it to have texture on things. I think it's exclusion might be the best one. My recording stopped again. I checked my Mac. I have plenty of storage space for the recording. Not sure why it's freaking out, but we're really close. We're really close to the end here. So I'm just going to wrap up and get over the finish line here. I mean, that is really, really close. And I would say a lot of the added noise in this is probably just because I have a lower resolution version of the image. And so the last thing I'll do is just click on this semicircle here, go to levels. Let's make it a little bit brighter. Let's see here. And to make it a little bit brighter. I wonder if I can do a camera raw filter on here. Colors. Emboss, solarize. What the frick is solarize? I love that I get to do some new stuff. Lighting shadows. So that's probably it. I want to hit it with a high pass. And I don't know. Let me see if I can find high pass in here. High pass. I don't think so. So I think this is just where we'll end it, just for the sake of time and the video. This is the first episode of our recreation series. Here is the before, here's the after. So pretty close, I would say. There, I think with my level adjustment, does make it just a little bit too bright on a little bit of the colors there. So I might just need this level adjustment over the image of Clint. I'm not going to do too much. Okay. Anyway, that is our recreation, the original, our recreation. So really close. If I had a longer name, it would fill the graphic just a little bit more in different aspects of that. And so really fun just to play around with Affinity, learn how the textures are, learn where the things are in there, how to, remove backgrounds on different graphics and make them a little bit polished or different things. So really fun. I recommend everybody do this. I'm uploading new videos every single week. I love design. I'm hopefully going to be interviewing some designers here soon. Love the business of design, working with clients and different things like that and programs and Affinity. We haven't even gotten into some of the more advanced stuff. We're into the basics here. So just really excited for the opportunity and the stuff that we're doing. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe. Again, new videos every single week. You guys don't want to miss out. Check out our design spotlight series from yesterday. Just super excited with the content we're making. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. My name is Will, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.